Hi guys, live. Let me know in the chat if everything's working out here. Um, it's pretty cool here. Okay, so first of all, this is kind of a test. Let me try sharing this. We'll go and right on Facebook as well. I'm working really hard to get some things off the ground here. My high quality, robust resources for students, teachers, nonprofits, organizations, and small businesses. I have been a professional graphic designer and freelance. I've worked in several different agencies and organizations over the last 10 years. Hi, guys. Thanks for watching. And I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning, constantly learning. I think that's really important. But one of the things that I have seen come up over and over again is a, a problem that I think I may have a solution for, at least part of a solution. And that is, it seems to be very hard to reach a sort of high level of design work for if you're a small business, if you're a nonprofit organization, if you're a school, uh, if you're a teacher, if you're a student just who's trying to learn some of these things, there's a high threshold for entry to getting either work done or to learning how to do some of these things. The tools that are available right now are fantastic. They're phenomenal. They're incredibly powerful. Hey, hi everybody. Thank you for watching. And let me just pull up the chat here and see how everybody's doing. But so what I want to do is kind of take the experience that I have as a graphic designer, artist, and illustrator, and and open the doors for. I'm really passionate about education, and students being able to get into this industry without some of the hurdles and the things that I've had to overcome and challenges that I've faced. And it's an amazing time right now. Hey Lee, how you doing? Thanks for watching. It's an amazing time right now, I think, for students, because the tools that are available with a little bit of ingenuity, with a little bit of know-how, can do an awful lot. Awful might sound bad. They can do a whole lot. Okay, so the other side of that is there's a steep learning curve for some of the really powerful applications and platforms out there, like the Adobe Creative Cloud. It's fantastic, and I've used it for years and years. Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere, After Effects, all of them. They're just fantastic, and I love Adobe's tools. But one of the problems is that high-end tools, do not equal high-end work. They never will. Now, are they able to do things that maybe other software can't do? Yes, absolutely. But there's so much in them to learn to really be able to master them and use them really well. Let me give you an example. I've seen people who they buy Photoshop because it's a subscription now. I think you can get Photoshop for I think $10 a month as an individual, which is not bad, and that's great that that entry point has kind of been lowered. Before, it was several $100s to purchase a license just for one application. Now it can do a tremendous amount of things, but that doesn't mean that you know how to use it. And it's kind of like an expensive way of being able to create a big mess. So I think that it's more. I think that you can do a lot with much less today. And as the rise of the Chromebook has been, still, I think it's outnumbers pretty much any other device in schools at this point. At least that the statistics that I looked at not too long ago, it was on its way there, if it's not there already, to even at least in classrooms being used more than like Windows PCs, which had a monopoly on almost every industry for a long time. But they're an incredibly affordable option for what they provide. Being able to get on the web using a browser, and being able to create actually some really amazing things with it. With all of the web applications that are available now, it's a great time I think, start taking advantage of these simpler tools with maybe a different mindset. And that's what I'm interested in doing, is providing the mindset, providing the ethos, the way of thinking about tools, and training around those tools so that people can create what they want to be able to create. Whether you're a student, a teacher, organization, small business, nonprofit, or just somebody on a budget, I want to provide really helpful training, tips, and advice, as well as my years of experience as a professional graphic designer, artist, and illustrator, to help people be able to create the things that they want to create so that their businesses can be more successful, so that teachers are able to create things with both higher quality, whether they're just like handouts, or whether they want to show their students something really interesting and kind of open that door and lower that threshold for entry into the world of digital creativity, design, illustration, all of that. So one of the things that I've done is I've put together a website that is googledrawings.org. Please check it out. This is sort of a showcase of all of the, well, not all of it, actually, just a very small percentage of the work that I've done just using Google Drawings. So all of this was created in Google Drawings, everything that you see here on the screen. And this is all vector artwork. What I'm really focused on now is the resources page. I've just added some new images here that you can open in Google Drawings right from your web browser. So just clicking on it will give you a screen that you can make a unique copy, and that will be copied into your Google Drive. And you'll have full access to editing everything in here. It took me a while to set that up. If you're interested in knowing how I did this, maybe you want to do this for your students and create documents that they create copies of rather than editing the original, let me know in the comments, and I can maybe do a video on that. But I've got videos on here. I've got text and behind the scenes tutorials, the whole process on how I create these portraits and illustrations. Now, this is just part of what I've been using the Google suite of applications in Google Drive to create. I'm really starting to focus now on, like I said, the resources, creating sort of a high-end, growing library of imagery. I like to think about it as sort of an alternative to clip art. Clip art's been kind of, I think, maybe oversaturated, and it just doesn't look very good most of the time. So what I want to do is provide an alternative, or another resource, something that can maybe augment. Maybe you're trying to create a newsletter or a flyer or a poster or some sort of informational pamphlet or brochure, and you need some resources. That's what I want this to be. Just a huge growing library of resources that you're able to use. So this is all in Google Drawings. I have another project that I've been working on for a while, which is diveintodrive.com. This is going to be more focused on small businesses, organizations, and like professional print and digital collateral. So I'm doing the same kind of thing. I'm creating templates for Google Slides and Google Drawings, things that you can just click on and open and get right into editing. So if you need business cards, I've got 3 templates for business cards here. There's a front and a back side to be able to create and edit everything in here, add your own text, messages, phone numbers, everything. And it lives right in your Google Drive. And so this is something I really want to build out even further. And so those are some of the updates. And I really want to shout out and give a big thank you to all the patron support that I've had so far on my Patreon to help me be able to do this and do it better. And I have a Patreon gallery, which is starting to fill up here. And I just want to really say thank you, thank you, thank you. I do have some rewards if you do sign up for Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description after this video is uploaded here. But it's just patreon.com/Joshua Pomeroy. This is going to really help me be able to continue creating these kinds of resources. Also, I'd really love to hear your feedback. Tell me what's been working, what's not been working. What else could I provide that would be even more helpful? Whether you're a small business or a teacher or a student, what are some struggles or some problems that you might be facing that hopefully I can figure out a creative solution for, or maybe have already experienced and come across. And if you have any questions on anything that I've been doing, please let me know. I would really love to help and be an asset and provide great resources. So again, thank you guys. Do you have any comments or questions? I'll just stay on here for a little bit longer and see if you guys have any feedback. Oh, one of the questions I've had on my YouTube channel is how to create these gradient images, and I might as well go ahead and do that. I'll stay on here for a little bit longer. These gradient images, and I just want to show you, maybe talk a little bit about my design ethos for a second. So this is Google Slides. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. And one of the things that I've been working on for a long time is refining and simplifying my design process, along with lots of other things. This is sort of like a whole shift and a movement and just a way of thinking about tools and design and imagery and products and collateral and assets and messaging, and this whole idea of like what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish with visual communication. And I think that I've really honed in and simplified this process, and I'd love to do probably a whole series on just the design process. I have basically three categories of things that I really focus on for any design, whether it's for a website, whether it's for a business card, a flyer, a brochure, a pamphlet, a billboard, a banner, anything. And that's imagery, which can be simple as just a field of color. It can be as complicated as a very detailed rendered illustration, or just photography. All of that is imagery. Iconography, these are like your logos, your symbols, your buttons, anything that communicates something with some simplified iconic symbol. So like for UI design, for web design, anything that cues you to take an action, I lump that into iconography. And typography, which is text. Any messaging that you have written out, which any three of these you can use to create great design. The combination of those three, I think, is what makes the strongest designs. And so I've tried for a long time to write down this whole process and to simplify those things. And this is really how I work anymore. It's just I collect those three things, make sure I have those, and then I can rearrange them in all sorts of different ways to create great looking results. Let me pull up those comments. I just missed your comment there. So this whole process I refer to as design ethos. And I think it can be taught. I think it can be more than just tastes and opinions. I think it can be objective. Lee says, I just want to let you know that we appreciate your mission and keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. And this is why I'm doing this. Is for people like you, and to hopefully be a helpful resource. So for those who have asked about how do I create these gradient images, and here I'm just using Google Slides. This I've got 3 slides in here right now. Let me see if I can. If I move out, will you be able to see that a little bit better? There we go. So I've just got 3 slides in here. And all of these are actually made up of just 4 elements. I have this cutout PNG of a dancer. I've got this piece of text here, which is just word art inside Google Slides. I have a cutout PNG of a mountain, and I have this semi-transparent gradient PNG. And with those 4 elements, I can rearrange them, I can resize them, and get several different versions of this. This could be for maybe a poster or a business card, or like a big cover photo for a website. This was just kind of a personal project that I did. But if you go to angrytools.com, this is the tool that I use to create these gradient PNGs. And it's much like if you've ever, when you're like, maybe if you're watching Netflix and you see the title that usually comes at like the bottom of the screen, and there's like a gradient that goes from the bottom and it just fades out at the top. And this really helps the text be able to be visible on whatever artwork is behind that, which is usually like the cover photo of that for that show. And you can create these very, very easily, and you can do it in your web browser. You don't need Photoshop to be able to do this. So angrytools.com/gradient/image will be a generator tool that lives just in your web browser. And often what I do is I'll just create a very, very simple gradient, as you can see here on the screen. But the ones that I use most often are just a semi-transparent black gradient and a semi-transparent white gradient. And so I can do this probably a little bit better if I do a screen share. But I just wanted to point this out for people who have been asking. It's really easy to be able to create, and you just want to have a completely solid color that goes to completely transparent. So this tool allows you to be able to do that, and I use this often. So I set up my alpha channel to be 0, and then you can see how that starts to fade in and out like that. And then you can insert the pixel dimensions, which I'll do maybe something like 900 by 900. You can always squish it or stretch it in Google Images, or Google Drawings or Google Slides. So I can just copy this image, and then back in Google Slides, I'll paste it in. And so I've got this nice gradient. And I use this to sort of help my text sit nicely on top of images. And sometimes you just need a little bit more contrast to really be able to read the text. And I'll show you a poster example that I did that uses this technique. So again, this is just in Google Slides. And without this transparent, semi-transparent PNG here, the text becomes really, really hard to read. That white text on top of that astronaut becomes really hard to read. I don't want to completely make the astronaut invisible or lose that imagery. So using these gradient PNGs really helps. You can read all of the text and see the image. It just pushes everything, gives it a little bit more depth. So that's just one of the tools that I use, and I'd love to share more about that if you guys have any questions. Do you use drawing tablets, or is all of your input mouse and keyboard? Right now I am using a Wacom. It's the Intuos 4 Pen and Touch. It's actually older, an older one at this point. I bought this one a couple of years ago, and I do use this, but really not as much for design as I use a mouse. Actually, I use a mouse probably most of the time. What I like about the Wacom Pen and Touch is that it gives me a trackpad for my desktop, so I can do these kind of like smooth scrolling. So I like to use this actually when I'm doing more web design or web browsing. By the way, both of these websites were both created with Google Sites, the googledrawings.org and the Dive into Drive. I'd love to be able to continue working on these and really start fleshing these out, make some of these posters and designs available as templates so that all you have to do is just click on it, create a new copy, and get right into editing. Uh, um, the things I have in mind, I have a whole list of things to be working on here. Newsletter templates, flyer templates, handouts, brochures, more business cards and small business resources, presentation templates, and what I really want to be able to do is create things that are really easy to edit and very very simple. They're put together in a way that gives you access to change everything without being complicated, which is really hard to do. It takes a lot of work to be able to do that. And it's really just like a refinement process of just like, okay, what are the bare essentials to make something beautiful? And and serve the purpose of what it needs to do. It needs to say what it needs to say clearly and concisely. It needs to be visually striking to help attract attention. And I think those things are really important, whether it's for a business campaign, an ad, or a business tool for like information, like a pamphlet or brochure, as well as for education, being able to hand out things to students and colleagues and maybe other people who are interested in, or have some vested interest in the community, the school board. For presentation, design matters just across the board, and when it's done really well, I think that the response can be so much better. And that's really how I have come to measure my success as a designer is, did I help somebody attract more attention? Did I help them, if they're a small business, did I help them make more money than before? Did I help the nonprofit raise more money than ever before, or get more people to their event than ever before? I did color run posters a couple of years ago, which was so much fun. It was for our local elementary school, and they turned out beautifully. They loved them, and they had more people show up than ever before. Also working with our local Salvation Army, the same thing happened. I did their flyers and posters for a lunch program that we run during the summer for low income families. So you think about like the number of people who qualify for free and reduced lunch, which that was me growing up. We had 6 kids in my family, and so we needed that. And but during the summer, those parents take a big hit because your kids eat at least once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times during the day at school. And when you have a lot of mouths to feed, that really makes a big difference during the summer. And so Salvation Army, our local Salvation Army, has this program, just a fantastic program for kind of helping offset the cost of meals during the summer for those families. I love those kinds of projects. I don't make money off of them. And so this is why I've started the Patreon. This is why I've started promoting it, because I want to lean more into that. I want to create more value, not collect customers. I want to create value. And I love my customers I've worked with over the years, but this is so much more of a passion to me than ever before. is lowering the threshold to entry for being able to create high quality designs for young minds, for students to be able to get a hold of resources and tools that will help them use the things that they probably already have, they're already using. Hi guys, thank you for watching. But be able to use them in a way that helps increase productivity. It gives them an outlet for creative expression. I think that is so important today, and helps just inspire them to be able to create something out of their own mind. Sometimes they just need to see someone else do it, and so that's really what I'm focused on right now. So yeah, for those who have asked about the gradient image generator, that's angrytools.com. They've got several tools actually that you can check out. Any other questions? Any comments? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is pretty cool. I really like this. I'm live streaming right now with the YouTube app just on my phone, and I'm using my little headset mic as normal. I hope everything's sounding and looking okay. I know that my screen is kind of hard to see when you have a camera pointed at it. But most of what I'm trying to do in this stream is just talk about my process, talk about what I'm doing, give you guys some updates. Again, thank you for the patrons who have signed up. Lee, thank you for being on here and for watching and commenting and being right here on my patron gallery. I really love that. Love the costume too, by the way. That's just fantastic. Google Sites, yes, Google Sites. I think you can do a whole lot with that, and I think it's worth checking out. Lee says, cool, everything looks fine for next time, LOL. Yeah, okay, cool, thank you. That was a pocket watch. Oh, that's good to know. Well, thank you. Great costume. Love it. So, if for anyone else watching, one of the things that I do for my patrons is I create these vector illustrations. Depending on what level you sign up for, vector flats I think are a lot of fun. They're sort of Google-esque. I've done several of these, and they look great on your Google Plus profiles or Facebook profiles. They have this kind of like paper cutout or flat design to them, and then sort of the next level up is these much higher detailed vector portraits, which actually any of these you can have printed on canvas, and I'd be happy to do that for you as well for the partner tier. So let's see here. We talked about tools do not equal results. I really, really believe that. It doesn't matter how powerful Adobe's suite of applications are, which are great. No beef with them. They're just hard to learn. They do so much, and they can be pretty intimidating. And they don't necessarily equal good results, whether you know them well or not. I think that has a lot to do with just what's between your ears, learning and looking and interpreting, and simplifying everything that you see, everything that you intake into smaller and smaller chunks, more simple chunks, and then communicating that as simply and clearly as possible. Those are just some design tips. Talked about lowering the threshold for high quality design for students, teachers, organizations, nonprofits, and small businesses. If you're just joining in, that's what we've been talking about. Oh, the other thing that I really, really love about using any of the tools in the Google suite of applications, including Google Sites, is collaboration is built in. So Wes Warner, if you happen to be watching or catch this replay, Wes Warner, I think that you had kicked this off a couple of years ago, if not more. We used Google Drawings when I was just starting to get into some of these vector portraits and illustrations, just using Google Drawings. And we did a collaborative project. I think there were over 20 people at one point who worked on this, and we recreated one of Vincent Van Gogh's paintings, one of his sunflower paintings, and we did it in Google Drawings. Let me see if I can pull that up and show you because I loved working on that. It was so cool to watch this whole thing come together. I think Wes Warner has a like a time lapsed video on his YouTube. Um, Here we go. A collaborative Google drawing inspired by Van Gogh. Here it is. Check this out. So here on the left we have the reference image, and here on the right we have the final vector illustration. This is just beautiful. And we've got some comments on here actually. I wonder if you can see how many people this was shared with. Let me see if we can pull up some information here. Document details. Owner Wes Warner, yeah, so he was the one that kicked this off. But just amazing, and I love that because this is vector now, we could print this at like any size we wanted. We can download this as a PDF or an SVG, and this is just super cool. And it really turned out great. I did quite a bit of work on this, but so did several other people, and it was multinational. I mean, I think that we had people from UK, we had people from North America, possibly South America. I can't remember where else, but so cool to be able to collaborate on something like this, and either focus on a particular part, or we can have multiple people in here at the same time. I'll be working on things. Very, very interesting project. And this is one of the things that really sold me on Google Drive suite of applications, which was like, okay, if we can recreate this with people around the world, what else can we do? And that goes for Google Slides, that goes for Google Docs. Most people know about that if you're using Google Docs. But it also goes for Google Sites. So you can have people working on different pages. You can have people working on the same page, different sections. And I think for organizations and schools and nonprofits and small businesses, it just all makes a lot of sense so that you're not the one who's doing everything. For example, I could be working on the layout and design and have someone else writing the copy right in the same document. Any other comments or questions while I'm on here? I'll stay on. Let's see. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Pardon me. I like this so far. This is really keeping up pretty well as far as the stream. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Hope it's coming through okay. All right. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please check out googledrawings.org and dive into Drive. That one's coming along. Dive into drive.com. I will have more on this one coming very, very soon. Thank you all, especially for my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind words and your encouragement. Again, I'm really focused on lowering the threshold to entry for students, teachers, small business owners, to be able to create the things that they want to create. And they can do that probably with the tools that they're already using right now. So if you're using G Suites uh, as a business or organization, you have all the tools that I've just showed you at your disposal. If you're a student, no need to buy any software to do the things that I'm showing you how to do, whether it's vector illustration, whether it's graphic design, whether it's creating, even stuff for print. Google Drawings and Slides recently just introduced guides, by the way. I'll have more coming on how to create guides and set up guides. They're really, really helpful and really handy, especially for print work. And that will be all for now. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. One more question. Okay, go for it. Thanks for staying on here, Lee. What's your question? Can you do vector portraits without pics? Yeah. Um, it's it's a bit more tricky. I definitely prefer having reference photos if it's supposed to look like someone's likeness. Um, I'll, uh, I'll show you some other illustrations that I've done. If I don't have a reference photo, what I normally will do then is sketch something out. So I'm still using something to give me kind of a base for creating on top of. It just really makes things a lot easier for me. Not easier, I guess that it's just part of my process. Is whether it's a whether it's a sketch like this, that just gives me it's a low risk thing to just be able to create a quick sketch, and I can iterate, and I do that just in little journals like this. Whether that's for website design or creating monsters, quick thumbnail sketches really, really help me, and it gives me a reference. It gives me a guide. I can change it before I really start getting into creating vectors, because that's the part that takes a long time, getting those shapes right. But yeah, I still do a lot of freehand stuff. It depends. It depends on what you want. If you're wanting something that looks hand drawn and less like a portrait, I guess, then I can do that. I'll show you another style of illustration that I do. You guys can see this here on the screen. So this is a little bit more like hand-drawn looking. And what I actually do is use the curve tool rather than the polyline tool to create all of the black outlines. So almost like I was inking it with a brush or a nib. And then I go in and make my solid shapes and fill those with color. And I'm still, as you can see here, I'm still using reference imagery. This is just a very, very rough composite. It does not have to be very detailed, and this is very low resolution. But what's great about this is I can use something like this as a reference to get my proportions and the shapes right, because that's what really matters to me, is getting the shapes right. And whether I drew this or whether I'm using a photo reference, as you see here, the result ends up looking really crisp, really clean, really clear. And this one does have a little bit more of a hand-drawn look to it, sort of a cell style shading, maybe anime even. This was the final piece here. And I created these are really composites. This was This is a photo of from one picture of the woman's face, another picture of a different woman's hair, and I made those composites in paint.net, which is available for Windows. It's a free application. I didn't use any Photoshop anywhere in this entire process, and that's how it turned out. So the reference photos, of course, really help, just like this Van Gogh recreation we did. Some things I've done without reference photos. Here's one. This is kind of timely coming up here. Not quite yet, but this was just free-handed, just freestyle with the polyline tool in Google Drawings. And really simple, but this is the kind of stuff that I've been talking about. I want to create more of this type of thing for, so people can create their own Christmas cards, and everything in here is editable. I can, select something and just change it, change the font, change the color, do whatever I want with it. And actually every little piece in here is also movable, editable. If I'm doing any like hand-drawn illustrations, I will typically try to keep as much of my analog feel in them as possible. So that's not something that I do so much in Google Drive as other programs like Paint.net or just on paper. For example, here I'm just using Google Slides as a layout tool, and this is just a pen and ink drawing that I scanned in, and I'm just using Google Slides as a way of just arranging things on a page. So just some simple typography. I created these slides as presentations. But I did all of the illustration on paper first, and then did all the coloring in Paint.net. All right, guys, that's enough for now. Thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out with me. Again, check out googledrawings.org and diveintodrive.com. Lee, thank you. Thank you all of my patrons, supporters, everyone who's commented, liked the videos. I plan on doing a lot more videos, both on Google Drawings, Google Slides, Google Sites, the whole suite of applications, as well as Gravit Designer. I know there's a lot of people that are still following my channel for Gravit videos. I still have some coming out. I have one coming out tomorrow, actually, a video for doing the same process that I do in Google Drawings, but doing it in Gravit Designer. I'll have more tips and tricks for Google Sites, as well as more live streams like this, probably where I'm just talking and describing things about my process, my way of thinking, my design tips and tricks. Thank you for Christy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comment. She says, thank you for your Google Drive suite videos. They are so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Christy. Kirsty. Kirsty? Sorry if I got your name wrong. But thank you. Thank you for watching. All right, it's Sunday afternoon. I hope you guys are having a good day. Um, I hope I'm providing some useful tips and helping people be more creative or think maybe differently about tools or how to use them or how they can be more productive or more creative. Uh, you might already have everything you need. And if not, maybe you just need a little help. Yeah, I'm still learning. I hope you continue to learn as well and pass on your information, pass on your knowledge to someone else. Help them, inspire them. Bye for now.